Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air, the deadly storms pushing into the east at this hour. Also tonight, President Trump says he's not joking when it comes to a third term. The harrowing video tonight, the break-in, the former sports star's home, his wife and children held at gunpoint, and you'll see it. First tonight, the images coming in this evening, severe storms from Florida up to the Carolinas and then right up the East Coast, right into New York City. Tornadoes reported in multiple states tonight, one touching down near a school. The oil tanks exploding after likely being struck by lightning. Ginger Zee has the forecast. Tonight, President Trump vowing to move forward with a major tariff blitz starting this week. Many countries, including allies, being targeted. The move expected to drive up the cost of groceries, electronics, and cars right here in the U.S. And tonight, the president is serious about a third term, despite the Constitution, and what some Republicans are saying about that tonight. This evening, yet another close call, a passenger jet and an Air Force jet this time at the same airport, Reagan National. Authorities say the cockpit alert came with the planes about 12 seconds apart. There's also news tonight, another incident under investigation, a reported attack inside the control tower. An employee arrested. Overseas tonight, the death toll rising. The race against time to rescue victims in that magnitude 7.7 quake. A pregnant woman and her 5-year-old pulled out alive after 60 hours. Back in the U.S., the powerful explosion tearing through an apartment building. More than a dozen people severely hurt, including many children. Windows blown out, the walls crumbling. The former NFL star and the chilling home surveillance video tonight saying it shows 3 armed men breaking into his home, holding his wife and children at gunpoint. Tonight, authorities investigating the death of a 9-year-old girl following a dental procedure while under anesthesia. Violence targeting Elon Musk's Tesla dealership spreading, not just the U.S. The Yankees tying a major league record, 15 home runs in the first 3 games. So is it the bat? And tonight here we remember the iconic actor known as the king of the miniseries. He would get 12,000 fan letters a week.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It is great to be back with all of you at home. And we begin tonight with these severe storms moving right into the east tonight, from Florida up to the Carolinas and right up the East Coast. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia and New York City. 60 million Americans on alert right now. The system already deadly. Hundreds of flights canceled. Nearly 500,000 people in the dark at this hour. Tonight, heavy rain and damaging winds possible right up the I-95 corridor. After deadly tornadoes and thunderstorms in multiple states, at least 6 reported tornadoes touching down from Louisiana all the way up to Michigan, this one near Fisher, Arkansas. Dangerous ice storms in Michigan bringing down trees and power lines. The governor there declaring a state of emergency tonight. Severe storms near Kalamazoo damaging homes and businesses. 3 children were killed when a tree fell on the family car. Tonight, this storm pushing right into the east. Ginger Zee is standing by live with the track, and ABC's Trevor Ault with the images coming in already.
Tonight, as millions in the east brace for severe weather, the storms are already deadly. At least 5 people killed, hundreds of thousands without power after a severe weather outbreak in multiple states.
Strong damaging wind gusts and an isolated spin-up tornado is not out of the question.
That massive system triggering a state of emergency in Michigan after an ice storm wiped out electricity.
All night long, it sounded like gunshots and branches breaking, trees falling.
Destructive winds ripping off roofs in Jackson. 3 young children killed in Kalamazoo.
The family's vehicle was struck by a tree as they were traveling down the road. There's really nothing anybody could have done.
2 more storm-related deaths reported in Indiana. In Dothan, Alabama, 5 students injured after a possible tornado hit their school.
I saw the library doors fling open and a bunch of wind and debris started flying through the hall.
Beautiful tornado, dude.
And in Tennessee, our Victor Okendo on the scene of a massive cleanup.
We're just north of Nashville in Springfield, Tennessee. Down trees all over this property, some of them crushing these cars behind me. And if you look up at the roof, a tree crashed right through it.
And in Livonia, Louisiana, east of Baton Rouge, lightning striking multiple oil tanks, sparking this inferno.
And David, the Northeast now braces for a stormy night ahead. There's already been hundreds of flight cancellations, with travel impacts continuing through tomorrow, David.
Could be a difficult night ahead. Trevor, thank you. For more on that, let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee. She's with us live tonight to take us right through it. Hi, Ginger.
Hey there, David. So we're here at the very top end of one of those thunderstorms, getting some of the sprinkles, but I've seen along the line back in eastern Pennsylvania, even a tornado warning already near Reading earlier. I want to take you to the maps, though, because a severe thunderstorm warning includes Raleigh down to Charleston. That means it's happening. Damaging wind is the main threat there. That same front's going to push this line right through the Northeast. That includes Baltimore, Philadelphia, and up to Boston into the overnight hours. After tomorrow morning, we're done with this one, but our eyes are already on Tuesday night to Wednesday, where the biggest tornado threat really sits around Memphis, Little Rock, right into southern Illinois, western Kentucky. But there's the problem, is this front's going to then stall out and stick around. And so we're going to end up with considerable rain, 6 to 12 inches, David. We could see some flash flooding right there in that middle pocket of the country.
We know spring always brings severe storms. Ginger Zee starting out the week with us. Ginger, thank you. There was a lot of other news to get to tonight. President Trump is signaling he is serious about a third term. And tonight, what some Republicans are saying about that. And it comes as the president is now vowing to move forward with a major tariff blitz on many countries, including allies, this week. The move is expected to drive up the cost of groceries, electronics, and cars here in the U.S. What the president is saying about that. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
Tonight, President Trump preparing to unleash an unprecedented blitz of tariffs against America's trading partners, dubbing Wednesday Liberation Day.
They're reciprocal. So whatever they charge us, we charge them, but we're being nicer than they were.
But the president has been extremely vague on the scope and targets of the coming tariffs.
How many countries will be in that initial tranche?
You'd start with all countries, so let's see what happens.
I asked White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Has the president decided on the scale and scope of these tariffs?
It's time for reciprocity, and it's time for a president to take historic change to do what's right for the American people.
Economists warn that tariffs on products from other countries are taxes paid by American businesses, who then pass the cost along to consumers by raising prices, which could skyrocket on everything from electronics to produce, apparel, and also cars, with Trump's 25% tariff on imported cars and auto parts also set to take effect later this week. Automakers scrambling. ABC News learning the president met earlier today at the White House with the chairman of Stellantis, one of the big three automakers. By one estimate, the cost of a new car could go up by as much as $8,000. Trump says he, quote, couldn't care less if car prices go up, saying, I hope they raise their prices, because if they do, people are going to buy American-made cars. But in Ferndale, Michigan, Karen Petke isn't waiting. She had planned to purchase her new Subaru in June. Instead, she rushed to the dealership.
I didn't want to take a chance that this car could go up thousands of dollars.
A new poll from the Associated Press shows Americans aren't sold on the president's trade policies, 60% disapproving, with 38% approving. And on his handling of the economy overall, 58% disapproving, 40% approving. But the president adamant his tariffs will encourage businesses to manufacture in America and ultimately boost the economy. And amid all this uncertainty, he is refusing to rule out running for a third term, though it's explicitly banned by the 22nd Amendment.
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just telling you, I have had more people say, please run again. They said, we have a long way to go before we even think about that.
But tonight, even some Republicans clearly uncomfortable.
Well, as a Republican, I and many would not be open to the idea of Barack Obama running for a third term. And so I think the folks have to be careful here.
And asked just now if he's concerned that seeking a third term means Barack Obama could potentially run against him, Trump said he would, quote, love that. And despite saying over the weekend that he's not joking about a third term, the president just now insisting he hasn't looked into it. David.
Mary Bruce live at the White House. Mary, thanks. We turn next tonight here to yet another close call, a Delta passenger jet this time, and a group of Air Force jets at the same airport, Reagan National Airport in Washington. Authorities say the cockpit alert came with the planes about 12 seconds apart. There are also reports tonight of a separate incident, an attack inside the air traffic control tower, an employee now put on leave. Gio Benitez covers aviation.
Tonight, federal investigators looking into yet another incredibly close call between a passenger jet and a military aircraft near the same airport, Reagan National Airport, just 2 months after that mid-air collision with a Black Hawk that left 67 dead. This time, the FAA says the Delta flight was taking off from Minneapolis-St. Paul after 3 p.m. on Friday when alarms went off in the cockpit, alerting pilots that another plane was nearby.
Was there an actual aircraft about 500 feet below us as we came off of DCA? That's fine, I need to be affirmative. Okay.
Those Air Force jets traveling from Langley Air Force Base in Virginia for a flyover at Arlington National Cemetery. Preliminary data showing the jets came within 6,000 feet of each other about 12 seconds apart when they received alerts to change course. This time on board the Delta flight, 136 passengers and crew. And tonight, as authorities investigate this newest close call, they are also looking into reports of an alleged fight inside the air traffic control tower. Authorities confirming an unrelated incident inside the tower also playing out last week. Authorities say a 40-year-old man is now on administrative leave after he was arrested and charged with assault and battery, reportedly involving a colleague in the tower.
Meanwhile, David, back in D.C., the FAA is trying to understand how its controllers allowed those two planes to get so close, especially just 2 months after that deadly crash.
Yeah, a lot of questions. The same airport all over again. Gio, thank you. Overseas at this hour, the stunning rescue after that 7.7 earthquake in Southeast Asia. A pregnant woman and her 5-year-old daughter pulled out after 60 hours. They are okay. Tonight, hear the race against time to save anyone else. Britt Clennett is in Bangkok.
Tonight, the critical window to find survivors closing. 4 days after that powerful 7.7 earthquake rocked Southeast Asia, killing at least 2,000 people. After 60 hours under the rubble, a pregnant woman carefully lifted to safety, along with her 5-year-old child. Crews in the Thai capital of Bangkok tell us this is still a mission to find survivors.
I think there are still chances of finding survivors in there.
American service members joining the search where a 34-story building collapsed in Bangkok.
U.S. military personnel now entering the site to help the rescue effort.
A rescuer working with the Americans says they are using drones to search debris.
Are they successful so far?
No, because there's safety issues. Because lots of brick falling down.
Chanasorn Srinin told me his sister, one of the electrical engineers on the site, is among the missing.
So these are all the missed calls.
The massive quake collapsed buildings and temples for hundreds of miles from the epicenter. Tonight, relief workers saying hospitals in Myanmar are overwhelmed and there's an urgent need for food and clean water. That country in the middle of a civil war, making access and humanitarian efforts more complicated.
David, among the real questions tonight is whether the recent cuts to U.S. aid is having any effect on this quake relief effort. The State Department tonight saying those cuts have not played a role in why American aid teams are still not on the ground in Myanmar. David?
Still not on the ground there. Britt Clennett reporting live for us. Britt, thank you. Back in the U.S. tonight, the horrific explosion at a Detroit apartment building. More than a dozen people hurt, including multiple children. Here's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, the dramatic scene in Detroit after an apartment explosion left at least 13 people injured, 6 of them children.
Injuries inside. It's definitely unsafe for police personnel.
Police say the blast happened around 4 a.m. The force so powerful that windows were blown out and some exterior walls crumbled away. Firefighters rescuing people from the second floor.
Once they arrived on the scene, they had people at the windows here on the south side of the building, kind of hanging off, ready to jump. And of course, they went into action.
This dad shielding his 1-year-old and 6-month-old children from the impact. Speaking to ABC affiliate WXYZ.
I covered over them and I got hit with an impact and I broke 4 of my ribs.
Authorities saying 2 adults and a 3-year-old from the same apartment unit were treated for severe burns. They remain in critical condition.
David, so far, 10 of the 13 people injured have been released from the hospital. The fire chief says this could have been a lot worse. The cause of the explosion is still under investigation. David.
All right, Stephanie Ramos. Steph, thank you. From France tonight, a legal and political earthquake there. Far-right leader Marine Le Pen, a top candidate to be France's next president, convicted of embezzlement and barred from running for office. Le Pen convicted of a scheme to divert money from the European Union to her political party. She denies any wrongdoing, calling the prosecution political. She vows to appeal. But that could take several years, blocking her from a 4th run for the presidency in 2027 when Emmanuel Macron must step down. When we come back here tonight, the Tesla dealership targeted, the images coming in, the fires and the drone images of the aftermath. Also tonight, we remember an iconic star. He would get 12,000 fan letters a week. And look at this, the chilling images tonight. The former NFL star sharing this surveillance. He says armed men breaking into his home, his wife and children held at gunpoint. Our investigative reporter on this in a moment here. Tonight, former NFL star Richard Sherman sharing chilling home surveillance video. He says armed thieves broke into his home while his wife and children were inside, held at gunpoint. Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky.
This is the moment former Seattle Seahawks star Richard Sherman says armed thieves in jackets and face masks burst through the window of his home with his family inside. One of the intruders appears to be holding a duffel bag and a gun. Police say the break-in happened just after midnight Sunday morning. The retired defensive back posting his wife and children were home at the time, adding, "Scary situation that my wife handled masterfully and kept my kids safe." Sherman sharing the images online and encouraging anyone that can help find these people to reach out. It comes as the FBI has been urging professional athletes to take security precautions after a rash of burglaries targeting players like Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Joe Burrow. David, the King County Sheriff's Office tells us there have been few residential burglaries in the area, so one of the things investigators will be working to determine is whether Sherman's house was targeted. David?
All right, Aaron Katersky, thank you. Tonight, authorities in San Diego investigating the death of a 9-year-old girl following a dental procedure. She was under anesthesia. Dreamtime Dentistry saying the patient was continuously monitored and showed no signs of complications and was, quote, discharged in stable condition. The medical examiner's report says she was still asleep when they sent her home. She was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Still no exact cause of death from authorities. When we come back here tonight, we remember a beloved actor, his famous movies and TV miniseries, and thousands of fan letters. And more than a dozen Tesla vehicles set on fire, violence targeting Tesla dealerships spreading, and where this played out. We turn to the index of other news tonight. Violence targeting Elon Musk's Tesla vehicles spreading beyond the U.S. now. Tonight, the pictures from Rome. Italian police say at least 16 Teslas were destroyed by fire at a dealership. The company has been given police surveillance video recorded by the vehicles as they were being targeted. For the first time, we hear from astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams after that very long trip to space. Their 8-day mission, of course, turning into nearly a year after the trouble-plagued Boeing Starliner kept them at the International Space Station. Today, Commander Wilmore was asked if there's any blame.
There were questions that I, as a commander of the spacecraft, that I should have asked, and I did not. At the time, I didn't know I needed to. And maybe you could call that hindsight, but I'll start and point the finger and I'll blame me.
We're glad they're both back and safe. Both astronauts say they would fly in the Starliner again. The Yankees starting the new season with a record-tying 15 home runs in the first 3 games. Many now saying it's the bats. Several players using newly designed so-called torpedo bats. The weight of the bat shifted more toward the center, allowing for better contact, they say, giving the bats a bowling pin shape or torpedo. 5 Yankees have homered at least once using the bats. Other teams obviously taking notice here. When we come back here tonight, we remember a beloved actor, his many unforgettable roles, and the fan letters by the thousands. Finally tonight here, a film star, a TV star, and the king of the miniseries. In the world of television miniseries, Richard Chamberlain was the biggest star.
You look lovely, Maggie.
A priest wrestling with forbidden love on the Thornbirds in 1983.
You love me?
But I love God more.
More than 130 million viewers tuning into ABC.
If only I could make you understand what being a priest means to me.
His classic looks and on-screen talent made him an overnight sensation.
Oh, doctor.
As the compassionate Dr. Kildare in 1961.
This is Dr. Kildare.
What, are you blind? You just don't care.
It was said he would get 12,000 fan letters a week, and his first Golden Globe for that. Born in Beverly Hills in 1934, Chamberlain set his sights on Hollywood after serving as an Army infantry clerk in Korea.
Maybe we follow the river to a golden sun.
Or to a golden city.
He would go on to star in more than 24 plays, films, and miniseries.
Bonjour.
Mr. Darmacourt, please. Jason Bourne calling.
The film adaptation of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar.
Now answer it. I hope so, answer it. You great overgrown child!
The Three Musketeers in 1973. A year later, The Towering Inferno.
The women are gone. We are going next.
Chamberlain later earning a second Golden Globe for the original miniseries Shogun. Richard Chamberlain passed away 2 days short of his 91st birthday. And when he was asked through the years how he wanted to be remembered, he said he was not interested in that. He was truly grateful, though, for the life he got to live.
Not everybody I'm going to cry now, in life gets their absolute wishes answered. You know, it doesn't happen to that many people. And I'm so grateful for it.
Remembering Richard Chamberlain tonight. Great to be back with you. I'll see you right here tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.